And guess what came in the mail today? I'm really excited to see that the drop spindles finally showed up. They were 8 days late shipping and then 3 days late due to the holiday. Even though they're supposed to be here like the next day, they finally got here so we can get rolling on that. Maybe a little overkill. I am told that these are the last ones, and I'm lucky to have them. But these will drop the front end down a good 2 inches, and we'll see how much of a pain in the butt we have to work with to get the rest of the front suspension all together. Piece of cake. Work. Lots and lots of work. I gotta do boss stuff. Because you know that makes people work when you snap your hands. Spindle's gotta go on, suspension's gotta get stripped. I think we should turn this sucker around. Maybe we'll do some of that diagonal motion. The highlight of the day was getting to drive the truck, or car, or chassis. Push me. I just don't have any brakes. I mean, this is kind of like what it's gonna be like, right? So I've got no accelerator, no brakes, no running engine, and Birch is pushing me. Flintstones. I'm so afraid to get my foot chopped off here. Okay. It's so much easier to turn when this thing is mounted. Uh-oh. But you know what? That was fun. Ideally today, I'm gonna get the rest of those little odds and ends buttoned up on the back side while he's working on the front. We need to get the drop spindles onto the actual chassis itself to find out how much more drop we do or don't have. And that's gonna kind of determine exactly where I'm at with the front suspension or how much craziness I wanna get into with it, because we don't have a ton of time, but I'm also not gonna sacrifice safety for time. So in order to find out where that whole frame is gonna lay out and how much travel I do or don't have in the suspension and how crazy I get, we just got to get it assembled, and then I got to button up everything else on the back end real quick. So shouldn't be too hard, but I'm a little nervous because whatever happens when those spindles goes on or they go on there, it's, you know, that's going to say, okay, well, we've got extra weeks of this or we've got nothing. We can just roll on down the road, but I guess we'll soon find out. Tab out that side, and we'll put in a cross member for that. I don't know if we'll really need this, but since it's there, might as well. All of these nuts and bolts were pulled off of the original body and chassis when I stripped it all down to start on the other build. So I don't know why. It seems like kind of like an added bonus if you can just use the original hardware that comes with it. But I might end up notching the tube out here just to create clearance for this cable to come in a little bit smoother, but we'll see how the action is on it. It'll just be a judgment call. This one's a little bit longer, has a bigger washer on it, so it'll stay in that strap a lot better. I can either do, say, a big bracket that comes off of here and goes back over there, or I can weld a cross member in here, but I'm a little concerned about the drive shaft hitting at this point, so I'll just do a simple bracket. So we'll go like 6 inches to center. Or no, we'll actually run normal measurements, 5 3/4 by like 9 on that side. No, it's 5 and 5.75. Yeah, see, I don't like any of that. Doesn't need to, you know, hold the world, so. Okay, I got it. There, weight reduction. That is a beautiful thing. So I moved the universal fabricator in here just to give us a little more space in there. And of course, when the school and everything starts back up in here and all of our classes, we'll have this for use, because I know a lot of people want to get trained on machines like this. Now, if I move this clip over just a little bit there, that should support this a little bit better and keep it in place where it needs to be. So that way we have better alignment on here and less stress on it kind of pinching a little bit. So Right, that part's done. I think later tonight or something I'll probably weld this out completely, but for right now this will more than do the job. Set the sucker down. They are labeled right and left, so their right, my right. It's upside down and backwards, so it's got to be mirrored and flipped. Yeah, so right will be the right, and the left will be that left.
This is left, right?
It is not left right, it is right right. So these are flat pliers used in glazing, and that little section on there you can just kind of lightly press it down and it usually kind of helps flatten it just a little bit. Normally I use HVAC duckbills, where you can use duckbill pliers or something like that, but oh shit, crap. Hey, you know this brake line got hit? This brake line got hit. Was planning to get the proportioning valve hooked up to the back and then hook the rear brakes up completely, but unfortunately we discovered that somewhere in there we ended up hitting the line with maybe the saw. It was probably my fault, I don't know, maybe I hit it. I think I cut that side off, but nevertheless, the whole brake setup needs to be redone anyway. It's one of those things you don't really take a chance to. You could probably patch it up, but it's not a good idea at any rate. So we're just gonna rip those lines out, rerun them from scratch. Again, we're not going to worry about the load sensing proportioning valve even functioning, because it's really not imperative to that happening. And I just realized I can't put it here because passengers are going to be sitting there. Yes, we can get that in there. Cut a small tab for that, and it hides this well underneath. Go to about 3/4 on center, and let's just do 1 inch wide. I'm going to attempt to use the Bentech library. Okay, templates, we'll go in tabs. I think that one, yeah. So it should be, yeah, that looks pretty easy. How about that? Success! That ought to do it. So we'll just get this kind of semi lined up and just drop a tack on it. Get myself a little pilot hole or a little mark on here on the inside, and then we'll just drill that out. Of course, I'd like it to be somewhat presentable, not all super crooked and stuff, so we'll kind of pay attention to that. Go, one proportioning valve. Let's see if I can get this tab welded on down here for the brakes, and then I'll worry about welding the whole chassis out later. I want to get these spindles on and figure out what's going on, so let's just skip over back to the front. What you need? Might be able to get it through there, I don't know. If not, you're gonna get a wrench. Lucky. You. I think we're gonna need some fresh grease. Not grease, it's like a gel. Green hands are way better. It matches my green blade. Like, can't even tell I'm holding it. You. This is why I stopped being a mechanic. I'm like, I don't want to be dirty.
That one's right side.
It's the left side.
That one's right side.
It's got to be left side.
Oh, that's the right side.
Yeah, well, if you turn it the other way, then guess what? No, this one's the right side. Don't tell me how to work on my own truck. Okay, what the hell? There you go. I'm not going to be super specific on this one, as long as everything's in there. It's only that moment where you're all covered in grease and stuff that your eyeball starts itching. Never happens any other time, ever. So these new spindles actually relocate the center, or these new knuckles, if you will. Some people call them drop spindles, some people call them drop knuckles. But basically what happens is it takes the location of the spindle, which is the center of the wheel, and it moves it upward on the knuckle itself. So when the position of it goes upward, the whole truck or the whole vehicle, your whole chassis will end up sitting lower as a result, which means you gain the same amount of suspension travel and everything else like that without sacrificing any of that. So your angles, everything else like that, they will all stay the same when you use this. So we're just kind of swapping it over right now, getting a general idea of how it's going to look, because we need to figure out if it's going to make it sit all the way down on the ground and then how much suspension travel I have left. For right now, we're just getting the factory rotors and bearings and all that stuff just set back up on here so we can get kind of a loose fit. I mean, the whole thing doesn't need to be assembled, just the hubs and the wheels on there. We're not putting the brakes on it at all. We're not trying to drive this thing anytime soon. I don't even have rear brakes now because that line was all messed up. I should be a reality show star.
Sure. You gotta sell your soul to become famous, right?
They say you gotta do that, but that's, I mean, it depends on how bad you want it, you know? Like I personally, I get noticed all the time around town or every time I go out of town. Of course, if I go to conventions, people are looking for me, but every great once in a while, I'll get seen while I'm driving around or something if I got the window down. But no, it's cool. But I never really thought of myself as like a famous dude or anything like that. Or you know, it's like I just love what I do, and people seem to enjoy watching it, and that's pretty much all there is to it. When I do meet people, I like to sit and talk. I like to chat. I like to see, you know, hear about your story, what you do, and you know, see all the things that go on. Or you know, if you say that something I did helped, I'd like to see pictures of it. You know, well, it still is. As I tell people all the time, it's, you know, when somebody says that they started a company or they built something, you know, just based off of reference of the things that I've done or that I've helped out with. I mean, knowing that I helped out, still, it's super humbling. Like, that's incredible. I mean, I still tell them, I'm like, hey, you did it all yourself. You know, I was just here with a, you know, I'm a guidebook. Dude, you didn't put the center caps on. Why? Well, we gotta have that bling while it sits still, you know? No?
Because that tire's just gonna come right back off here in, what, 20 minutes?
Yeah, but you gotta think about it, man. One for the gram.
You can put yours on.
NASCAR. Okay. Moment of truth. It's definitely more laid out than it was before. Yeah, we still got about an inch to go. There's not much travel left in that. These ball joints are wasted. Which, if there's not much travel while they're wasted, there's definitely going to be no more travel when I put the new ones in. I mean, the back end's pretty much back down again, but I'm just going to have to rip this whole stinking thing apart. Damn it. So I had to take a couple of minutes here to really consider what I want to do, because safety is obviously priority number one. So the biggest issue that we have right now, let's see if I can get these tires to swing a little bit and kind of see it a little bit better. But this ball joint is still maxed out. Even with the drop, I thought maybe it would loosen it up just a little bit, but this ball joint is still maxed out. We could put smaller tires on it, we can do all that stuff, but I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm gonna build this correctly. So the hurdle that I have here with this ball joint maxed out, it's going to get worn out quick and it's going to be more prone to snapping, and that is absolutely unacceptable, especially if I'm driving down the road or whatever the case is. We don't want to endanger anybody. So right off the get-go, in order to correct this geometry, we're going to have to build a new custom control arm, an upper control arm. Down below, this strut rod is getting in the way. The bag will actually sit on top of it, which I don't want to do because that's like puncture city. Plus the space that I have to work with here, the airbag is kind of rubbing on everything, which I discovered yesterday or the day before. And we can't allow that because we don't want it to like blow holes every mile or so. It's just, you don't risk this kind of stuff. So if I have to get rid of this strut rod here and I have to redesign the upper control arm, I might as well redesign the lower control arm, correct that geometry, get the bag mount exactly where I want it, and go from there. but that's just not quite enough for me right now because I still have to trim out more of this original OEM pocket. And I don't really want to just keep on trimming and then hope that my reinforcements will work. I'm literally going to cut the entire control arm mount, the pocket, every single bit of that. I'm going to slice all of that off and we're going to build it all from scratch because this is not something I'm going to mess around with. You know, none of it's worth it at the end of the day. I mean, if you drive yourself into a wall, you know, because of something broke and you were too lazy to do anything about it, that's your fault and this won't be mine. So we got a delay, a little bit of a delay, but I'm gonna have to get some parts ordered and kind of figure out what I'm gonna do, which this is a bummer. Really wanted more. I want to do it quicker. I want to start on the body.